definitely did. Welcome, everybody. The Vermillion City Council scheduled for today at 6 o'clock, of course, will come to order. Alex, will you please give roll?
Toller.
Here.
Weaver.
Here.
Price. Here. Holland.
Here.
Genowine. Helwig. Here. Cheeseman.
Here.
Murrah.
Here.
Mayor Cole.
Okay, please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Has everyone had a chance to review the minutes? And if so, do we have any changes or a motion?
Move approval. Second.
Okay. Moved by Gary, seconded by, I didn't see, Al. Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, oh, I gotta bang the hammer. Adoption of the agenda. I'm gonna right off the bat say we do need to amend it once. I'd like to add, I guess it would be item 11. We need an executive session. I'll be added to it. Other than that, are there any other changes or additions to the agenda?
Move approval of the agenda as amended.
Okay, a second?
Second.
Second? Okay, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Alex, I'm not reading names. Should I read names so you can understand who's first and second? Am I okay? Thank you. Visitors to be heard. Okay. Oh my gosh. It says in here very carefully that I wrote to myself. Read it from the President proclamation to be read first. Okay. I don't know if this is. So let's go through the proclamations first. We'll start off with the National Library Week proclamation. Daniel, if you would, please.
Thank you, council members. Proclamation recognizing April 19th through the 25th, 2026 as National Library Week. Whereas libraries spark creativity, fuel imagination, and inspire lifelong learning, offering a space where individuals of all ages can find joy through exploration and discovery. And whereas libraries serve as vibrant community hubs, connecting people with knowledge, technology, and resources, while fostering civic engagement, critical thinking, and cultural enrichment. Whereas libraries provide free and equitable access to books, digital tools, and innovative programming, ensuring that all individuals, regardless of background, have the support they need to learn, connect, and thrive. And whereas libraries partner with schools, businesses, and organizations to maximize resources, increase efficiency, and expand access to essential services, strengthening the entire community. And whereas libraries empower job seekers, entrepreneurs, and lifelong learners by providing access to resources, training, and opportunities that support career growth and economic success. And whereas libraries nurture young minds through story times, STEM programs, and literacy initiatives, fostering curiosity and a love of learning that lasts a lifetime. Whereas libraries protect the right to read, think, and explore without censorship, standing as champions of intellectual freedom and free expression. And whereas dedicated librarians and library workers provide welcoming spaces that inspire discovery, collaboration, and creativity for all. And whereas libraries, librarians, and library workers across the country are joining together to celebrate National Library Week under the theme, Find Your Joy. Now, therefore, be it resolved that we, the governing body of the city of Vermillion, South Dakota, do hereby proclaim April 19th through 25th, 2026 as National Library Week in the city of Vermillion. During this week, we encourage all residents to visit the Edith B. Segrest Vermillion Public Library, explore its resources, and celebrate all the ways that the library helps our community find joy. Dated at Vermillion, South Dakota, this 20th day of April, 2026. Excuse me. If I may real quick, Rich. Just as a quick summary, we have a lot going on at the library this week, and I'd encourage community members to stop by, especially if you haven't visited for a while. Come see what's new and what's going on. This is the second year in a row that both National Library Week and our community's Earth Day activities fall on the same day. Yesterday, author Naomi Yeager visited to talk about her book, Blooming Hollyoaks. This evening, we're hosting the Earth Day book discussion on the New York Times bestseller, The Light Eaters. Tuesday, we have a monthly adult craft program. Wednesday, we've got a fiber arts group. Especially important, this Thursday afternoon, we're partnering with SDPB to show the documentary The Librarians, which explores the implications of censorship for education and public life. Libraries continue to act as champions of intellectual freedom, freedom of expression, and student rights. And I'd note this topic is especially relevant right now as we see Federal Bill HR 7661 head to the House for a vote. This bill attempts to amend the Elementary and Secondary Education Act by placing restrictions on school materials and resources in order for those schools to receive federal funding. And after that, on Thursday evening, Greening Vermillion and the Sierra Club will be presenting Bird-Friendly Cities. And this week, we'll also see visits from all 5 first grade classes to get a tour of the library, information on signing up for library cards, and what's coming this summer. This year's summer reading program is Unearth a Story, covering topics such as dinosaurs, paleontology, archaeology, and history. Registration opens May 4th, and the activities will kick off on June 4th for 8 weeks. But a big thank you to our city council and our community members for all the support we get for our library, and we hope to see you all there sometime this week. Thank you. Shall I? Thank you. Thank you.
Then we have another proclamation for Arbor Day, and Gary, if you would, please.
Thank you. It's an honor to read this proclamation for Arbor Day. This is a proclamation recognizing April 24th, 2026 as Arbor Day. Whereas in 1872, J. Sterling Morton proposed to the Nebraska Board of Agriculture that a special day be set aside for planting trees, and whereas this holiday called Arbor Day was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska, and whereas Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation and the world, and whereas trees can reduce the erosion of our precious topsoil by wind and water, cut heating and cooling costs, moderate the temperature, clean the air, produce life-giving oxygen, and provide habitat for wildlife, and whereas trees are a renewable resource giving us paper, wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, and countless other wood products, and whereas trees in our city increase property values, enhance the economic vitality of business areas, and beautify the community, and whereas trees, wherever they are planted, are a source of joy and spiritual renewal. Now, therefore, be it resolved, we, the governing body of the City of Vermillion, South Dakota, do hereby proclaim Friday, April 24th, 2026, as Arbor Day in Vermillion, and urge all citizens to celebrate Arbor Day and support efforts to protect our trees and woodlands. Be it further resolved that all citizens are urged to plant trees to gladden the hearts and promote all well-being of current and future generations. Dated at Vermillion, South Dakota, this 20th day of April, 2026.
Thank you, Gary. Jim, would you like to accept this? You're going to mention Arbor Day?
If I may,
Yes, please.
thank you for the recognition of Arbor Day. It warms our hearts up in the Parks Department to get this recognition. We're proud of what we do. We plant a lot of trees. Trees are not easy to grow, easy to plant, and easy to maintain, but our folks in the Parks Department do a really good job. Just a couple notes for that one here. I'd also like to recognize Councilman Cheeseman for being the liaison on the parks, or on the tree board for the city. We don't meet a lot, but when we do, it's important, and he provides us some valuable information. from behalf of the city council. Also, the community members, Aaron Badke and Russell Wilson, I want to recognize those folks for sitting on the board as well. 2-year commitment from them. We open those positions up via the website and such when there's a spot open. So if you're interested in that, keep an eye on for when those positions are open. Also, just want to recognize all the city staff that make this happen. It's just not the Parks Department. There's a lot of other departments that come in to make the tree board work. As a reminder, the Re-Tree Initiative, I don't know if we got this on up here, but we do have pamphlets at City Hall. We do have information on the website. You can contact me at City Hall here, but there's an opportunity for homeowners here locally to receive up to $200 back on a tree planting. Certain requirements are needed. All the information is available here in the pamphlet or online. Questions, again, please call City Hall and contact me. I can help you out with that one. The City of Vermillion Tree Board is also hosting John Hartland, who is a South Dakota forester. He's going to have a question and answer session on Thursday at the Vermillion Area Chamber and Development Company's downstairs meeting room. This is an opportunity at noon, on Thursday. This is an opportunity for anyone in the public to come out and have any tree-related questions. There's not a guy who's more in love with trees than John Hartland. He would love to have the opportunity to answer any questions that people might have, from emerald ash borer disease or the emerald ash borer to any tree ailment or disease that is out there. So encourage your friends, neighbors, if anybody wants tree questions, come down there. It's a great opportunity to have him come to town for that one. And lastly, as mentioned, part of the Arbor Day celebration, we want to plant a tree. So we will be planting a tree in front of the National Guard Armory, 603 Princeton Street, on Friday, noonish. Hardington Tree Company is going to spade in a big old buckeye tree. So we're excited. That's one of the first buckeye trees in the community that we've planted. And so we're excited for that and encourage the public and the council to come out and join us for the ceremonial tree planting. So thank you for your support of the Re-Tree program, the tree board, and all things tree related.
Thank you, Jim. Okay, people addressing the council. Persons addressing the council shall use the microphone at the podium. Please raise your hand to be recognized and go to the podium and state your name and address. And items are not, members of the public may speak under visitors should be heard on any topic not on the agenda. Remarks are limited to 5 minutes and no decision will be made at this time. Public testimony will be taken, however, at the beginning of each agenda item. So the subject, after it has been announced by the mayor and explained by staff, any citizen who wishes may speak one time for 5 minutes on each agenda item. Okay. Public testimony will then be closed and the topic will be given to the governing body for possible action. At this point, only city council members and staff may discuss the current agenda items unless a council member moves to allow another person to speak and there's unanimous consent from the council. Questions from council members, however, can be directed to staff or a member of the public through the presiding officer at any time. Is there anybody who would like to speak on something that is not on the agenda? Seeing none, we'll move on then to public hearing. Okay, we have a public hearing for the full-service on-sale restaurant license for Mamacitas. The applicant has requested that hearing be postponed until May 4th. However, this is a scheduled public hearing, so is there anyone who wishes to speak on this subject? Seeing none, I don't need further action, do I?
We'd recommend that there be a motion to continue it to the May 4th meeting.
Thank you.
Yep.
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded. Any comments? All in favor? Aye? Aye. Those opposed? Nay? Thank you. It will be postponed. Okay, consent agenda. We have on the consent agenda the invoices payable, resolution adjusting the landfill gate fee for asbestos and contaminated soil, and a resolution authorizing the purchase of 2 dump truck chassis for the street department. Are there any consent agenda items that should be removed for further discussion? Seeing none. Okay,
Move approval of consent agenda.
thank you. And for first and second?
Second.
Second by Gary. Okay, thank you. It's been first and seconded for discussion. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Thank you. Consent agenda is passed. Old business, there is no old business, so we'll move on to new business. And we will now discuss the request for an additional second penny funding for parks irrigation projects. Jim, thank you.
Thank you. Over the past few years, Cotton Park has been transformed from an underused space into Vermillion Signature's lower Vermillion Park area. Jolly's Park reimagining is paying off, of removing the old school to adding housing development and a playground. Both parks were designed from the start to include irrigation, with installation planned after the major construction was complete. The goal has always been to finish these parks right away, not leave the infrastructure uncared for or unfinished. Both parks are currently seeing heavy use, and we're excited about that. Drought conditions have made turf establishment difficult, especially without irrigation. Jolly Park's irrigated area was originally designed to support a large green space area. We were going to have full, hardy, athletic-style turf and irrigation for a lot of play and other uses in that area. Cotton Park has its own challenges over there. As everyone knows, that used to be a lime pit area, and it makes it very difficult to grow grass over there. For those that remember long enough, when the high school used to play soccer over there, they had water wheels and other things to try and keep the grass green as much as they could. Needing supplemental water to make the irrigation over there a long-term success. Staff received 3 quotes when this was going on. This is about 2 years ago. We always have to think further ahead here. With precision irrigation and lawn out of Beersford with the lowest vote, or lowest quote. The total cost is $38,317 to complete both parks and include all materials and labor. Initial estimates were lower when I had these done a few years back, but costs have increased over time with materials and labor. While the budget is $26,000, second penny funds are still available to cover the additional amount needed for this project. Staff would recommend awarding the contract to Precision Irrigation and Lawn Care as the lowest responsible bidder. We did receive, like I said, 3 quotes. One of those was from a Vermillion company here, so we tried to keep it as local as we can, but that quote was considerably higher. So we're asking to sign the contract with Precision Irrigation and Lawn Care out of Beersford, South Dakota. The additional funding, well, like I said, will come out of the second penny. You're going to receive a little note here shortly, but we were well under budget for the roof repair, so we're excited about that. So keep that in mind as we're talking about this now. So, staff recommends if we could sign an agreement with the irrigation company. Questions?
Gary?
So Jim, what exactly does irrigation mean? What's all going to be done?
The contract is written right now that there has to be a minimum number of heads, soil conditioning, so that all the boxes that go into the ground for the irrigation control, all the electrical work, getting all the plumbing from the street to the irrigation lines, the completion of the heads, the timing of the systems, training of use of the systems, that's what it covers. None of the actual irrigation costs, I mean the watering costs, but all the things, supplies needed to get the irrigation installed, and then mitigating the surface after the surface was damaged or compromised because of the digging.
So we're talking about sprinkler systems?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, straight irrigation. There's different levels of irrigation. The golf course, Prentice Park, probably the high school football, soccer fields over there have sports field irrigation. Those are just great, big, heavy-duty 2-inch lines. They're buried deep, about 16 to 18 inches, if not a little bit further, a little more protection from the soft. What we're looking at here is more commercial, or not commercial, or at-home irrigation systems, 4 to 6 inches under the ground, smaller heads, don't have to quite cover the areas that the commercial ones do, or sports field.
Thank you.
Actually, we got a little ahead of ourselves. Is there any in the audience that wants to speak on this issue? Sorry. Okay, seeing none. Council, any comments anymore? Yes.
Jim, do we got the layout all planned for like additional amenities that are going to be added down the road down there? Or are we just going to irrigate the whole place?
For cotton?
Yeah.
Right now, the irrigation is placed in front of the shelter, and we're leaving, so west of the shelter and south of the court complex is the planned playground area. That area will not be irrigated just because it doesn't make sense to do so at this time. The irrigation at Cotton would involve the complete front of the south side of it, and the side would be the east side as well. And there's a little bit around the corner to the north side of it. So it's just basically where the public's going to see everything, where it's going to be the most visible from the street and when you come up to the facility.
Do we have a time frame on when we're going to maybe add some amenities and things down there? Is that a 2026 thing or 2027?
Honestly, the next thing probably on the list in my book is a new parking lot. The parking lot is really having some damage and some wear and tear issues right now. We're exploring a couple different grant opportunities. We're looking at trying to figure out how we can handle that. That's probably the biggest thing right now, is just due to the fact that the parking lot is in shambles. The entryway is a nightmare to get in down there, to try and get in and get out at the same time. It's the head of the hike bike path. It's heavily used by the disc golf course. The racket complex is seeing crazy amount of use, and then the picnic shelters as well have gone up. So that's the number one concern right now. The playground area would be the next on the list.
Are they still going to do that lining of the river down there at some point? Weren't they going to use part of that parking lot to drive on to get down to the river?
Yeah, that was supposed to be a fall project, then it was supposed to be a winter project, and I don't know. Jose's been working with them a little bit, but it's well behind schedule right now, because that was our kind of wait. They were going to destroy the parking lot, get some of the heavy equipment, and it was going to be used as a staging area to put that riprap along the shorelines.
Okay, thank you.
Like, yeah, I'll find out, we'll let you know, but right now, I don't know.
Jim, I have a question for you. I think you may have already answered. This is an automatic system, so
Correct.
So it's
Yep.
not-
It's an automatic system. We can tweak it to how we want it to go, and it is rain sensitive too, that if you do get rain, it doesn't turn on for that evening or that event, the next scheduled event.
You may have answered the other one also. You said it's going to be about 6 inches below ground, so that means every fall you have to empty it. Is that right?
Yes,
Blow it out?
yep, that one needs to be winterized. Then the lines need to be blown out. Even the sports field turf irrigations, golf course, all those need to be winterized. It just, the frost gets too deep even for those irrigation systems.
Okay, any other questions? Do I have a motion? It's been motioned and second to approval. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Nay.
Thank you.
You have yourself a sprinkling system, sir. Okay, where are we? Old business, new business. I know I have Catherine here somewhere. Where'd you go? Well, okay, we have a Labor and Finance Committee report updating on our personal manual. And the chair of that committee, Catherine, would you please?
Sure, I'll read mostly what's here. The City of Vermillion has a personnel manual to assist with questions related to employment with the city. Not only does this manual benefit staff members, but assist with the department heads by providing answers or solutions for certain situations. It also provides guidelines for city positions that are not covered by the union agreements. This document is a crucial piece of the onboarding process, being provided to all new employees electronically before or on their first day. The city last updated the personnel manual in November 2025. Since then, staff have identified the need to include language about the Federal Pregnant Workers Fairness Act, identified some outdated practices, and updated sections per the request of city departments. Our Labor and Finance Committee met on April 6th to review these changes. Try to summarize these changes. The pregnancy accommodations were updated to be more in line with the Pregnant Workers Fairness Act, to add reasonable accommodations. There were reasonable accommodations for people, for an applicant, an employer applicant's known limitations related to or affected by or arising out of pregnancy, childbirth, or related medical conditions. This applies only to accommodations. Other laws, other enforceable laws make it illegal to fire or otherwise discriminate against employees based on pregnancy. So that was just bringing our personnel manual in line with that language. There was updating to a section 2.05 in smoking to include electronic cigarettes as not being allowable on city property or vehicles. And then updating section 2.08, the personnel records Alex can maybe talk more to this, but it was more about where do we keep certain documents versus other documents. Some documents have sensitive information that need to be kept in a place that's accessible for an audit, but don't need to be, you know, available for the supervisor to see whenever they want. So this differentiates where those documents go, and questions on that should be directed to Alex because she knows way more about that than me. And then the last one that we probably talked the most about was about the employment of relatives or the nepotism clause, which previously had said that it prohibited immediate family members from working in the same department. We discussed this in our committee meeting and thought it's probably appropriate for family members to work in the same department, but not to be answerable to each other in any sort of supervisory capacity. So a second paragraph was added that should a department like to request an exception to the nepotism policy, so basically we can field it to the city manager. But the second paragraph explains that the candidate must be the most qualified candidate out of the hiring pool, and that the department must make a request to the city manager, and that the candidate's immediate family member cannot make any decisions affecting the employment of the candidate throughout their time with the city. So those were the updates that our committee discussed and put forward, and you can see the details in the red line document where those changes were made. And so what I would do is I would ask for comments, and I think we don't vote on this today,
Well,
correct?
sort of.
It goes to the next meeting for a vote.
Accept the report.
We have to vote to accept the report.
Yeah. Thank you, Catherine. Now, this is a report updating our personnel manual. I doubt it, but is there anybody in the audience who wants to speak to this? Any? City council, staff? Yes.
Thank you. I just wanted to note one thing. On our second page, the first revision, it says W-4 forms and I-9 forms are kept separate from the personnel file within their own respective folders. I would advise that we take out the within their own respective folders, so that we're not being so precise and specific about where these items are located. It doesn't say if those are physical folders or digital folders, but I know that having this kind of specificity can lead to unintended consequences later, and I'd rather just leave it as they are going to be kept separate instead of saying they're going to be in folders and then they're not in folders.
Right. What if we get binders, you know?
Right.
That'd be terrible. I think that's reasonable.
Okay. So I guess I'm looking for a motion for accepting the report as presented, as amended. Any discussion? Do I have a motion?
So moved as amended.
Pardon?
Move to accept as amended.
Okay. Do you second? Okay. Any further discussion? Okay. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Report is accepted. Thank you, Catherine, very much for the work. Okay. Moving on to item 10, bid openings. On April 15th, we opened 4 bids for the City Hall roof replacement. And I was going to talk to Jose. If not, Alex, please.
Thank you. So the City Hall has 6 PVC membrane roofs and 1 asphalt single roof. All these roofs were initially installed back in 2009 with the original construction of City Hall. Back in 2023, the roofs were inspected and it was decided that they should not be replaced no later than 2028. But that was also dependent if there was any storm damage or any age-related damage on the PVC roofs. So bid specifications were sent to 11 potential bidders in the area and to 10 plan houses. Staff received 4 bids back for the project. These were read on April 15th. The low bid was from JC Roofing and Insulating of South Sioux City, Nebraska for $133,541.65. The other bids can be seen in the memo. I should note, though, that the bid from Stonebrook Exteriors was not read because it was not delivered in time to the city. Any bids received should need to be turned in by 2 p.m., but the bid was received by 2:15. All roofs will be replaced in kind with work being completed by July 31st. The roofs will have a manufacturer's warranty of 15 years. The 2026 budget included $180,000 for the replacement of the City Hall roof. And administration recommends awarding the project to J.C. Roofing and Insulating from South Sioux City, Nebraska in the amount of $133,541.65.
Thank you, Alex. Is there anyone in the audience who wants to speak to this item? Seeing none, city council, questions? Yes, Sal?
Well, I'm just curious, John, you might know, do you know how many square feet the roof is they're replacing? Does anybody know?
No, we can get that for you.
Okay.
I believe it was in the quote.
I'm sure it's in the documentation that way. I want to say the building's around 30,000 square feet, but obviously that's multiple levels. But we'll get that
But is
answer
that-
for you.
So is that going to do all the levels or just one roof?
It'll do all the respective
Okay.
levels. Yep.
Thank you.
Further questions? Do I have a motion?
Move approval.
Of the low bid?
Yes.
Yeah. A second? Second by Jay. Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. We have a new roof, I hope. Okay. Next, we have a city manager's report. John?
Thank you. Just most of the items are covered with the Arbor Day proclamation about the tree board, their programs and everything. The only other item I have to add to that is that our annual residential household hazardous waste collection is this Friday, April 24th. That's held at the Recycling Center, 840 North Crawford Road. We have that here once a year. It's from 2 to 5 p.m. this Friday, and the cost is $15 per vehicle. Just a note, you do have 3 terms on the Human Relations Commission and 2 terms on the Library Board. Those all expire coming up here in May. Expression of interest forms are due by 5 p.m. this Thursday, April 23rd. And then it's anticipated this will be on your city council agenda on May 4th to make the appointments to those seats. We do have on the Human Relations Commission 2 3-year terms, and then 1 student term is a post-secondary student term of 1 year. The library terms are for 3 years. And then just a note, the June 2nd ballot contains a question about amending the city's home rule charter. City council prepared and accepted an ordinance to put that item on the budget. And basically on the ballot, what that would do would be allow the city council, if that's adopted, to consider an ordinance that would allow the budget process to be later than in the calendar year. And what we've done to help provide some background on that, I know the council is very familiar with this, you've had several discussions, but there's been some information posted on the city's website. It has the ballot language and explains this measure a little bit better with some frequently answered questions. That's all that I have.
Thank you. Thank you, John. Anybody have questions for John?
Does the city do like an annual pickup where people moving, you can just want to get rid of some stuff, throw it out in the street to be picked up, like a community pickup?
No, my understanding is they had that about 30 years ago. They used to do something like that. And and at that point in time, it was a partnership with the university. And I didn't live it, but this is what I was told, is that they used to have a lot of the football players that would help because there's just a lot of junk at the curb, and they would be part of the staff for it. And then through some injuries and other things that happened, that kind of ended because of some of the liabilities and everything. And that's when we went to the voucher program, which basically gives someone about a $15 discount to take items out to the landfill.
Okay.
That was kind of the balancing act for that.
All right, thanks. Somebody was just asking me about that this week and I couldn't remember.
Sure.
Thank you, Jay. No other comments? Okay. Next is an executive session for state statute, I guess, 1-25-2, parentheses 3, for a legal matter, executive session. Do I have a motion to go into executive session?
So moved. Second.
Moved and seconded? No, we come back and close it later. Okay. So I can now declare us in executive session, and thank you, everybody.
You need to have a vote on it.
Oh, wait, no, I declared it.
No.
All those in favor say aye. Those opposed? Okay, we go into executive.